Let's start with a jolt of truth. The fear that keeps stalling decisions, dimming dreams, and slowing steps isn't a wall outside of you. It's a picture painted by your own mind. And you've been holding the switch the whole time. That might sound confronting, but it's also freeing. Because if fear is a projection, then clarity is a choice. If fear is a shadow, then light is right here, within reach. And today, we're going to flip that switch together gently, honestly, and in a way that sticks. Here's where it gets interesting. Fear isn't new, and it isn't your fault. It's ancient. It helped your ancestors avoid cliffs, fires, predators, and poison. In that world, fear was sacred. It kept people alive. But somewhere between then and now, the world changed faster than our wiring. Today, there are fewer tigers outside and more tigers in the mind. What will they think? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? The alarms got smarter, but not wiser. They started ringing for things that don't threaten life, only identity. So what are we really dealing with? Not a monster, not a curse, a pattern, a loop in the nervous system, a habit of imagining the worst, pairing it with tightness in the chest or stomach, and calling it reality. Fear whispers like a fake friend, maybe later once it's perfect. What if it goes wrong? And without noticing, we start obeying its rules like it's in charge. But it isn't, is it? It never was. It just got good at sounding like common sense. Let's bring this down to earth. Every fear hides a wish. If speaking freaks you out, somewhere underneath is a longing to be heard. If rejection terrifies you, it's because love and belonging matter to you more than you admit. Fear looks like a locked door, but the keyhole is shaped like your desire. That's the secret nobody told you. Fear points to exactly what you're ready for, not later, now. Across time, wise people tried to describe this using different languages, but they were circling the same fire. Some called it illusion, the mind building a prison out of beliefs and calling it home. Others said fear is the ego's smokescreen because the small self would rather stay safe than grow. Some saw fear as a heavy vibration that sits low in the body, tugging energy downward into survival mode. Others saw it as a veil, a thin film that keeps the heart from seeing clearly. But all of them agreed on one thing: you don't beat fear by headbutting it. You dissolve it by seeing it for what it is. That's the shift we're making here. Not hype. Not just be positive. Not stop being scared. Instead, let's learn to meet fear with presence. Let's learn the difference between danger and discomfort. Let's learn the body's language, not to shut it up, but to listen so well that the signal no longer needs to scream. Think about fear like this. It's a smoke alarm that goes off when toast burns. At first, you panic. Then you open a window, wave a towel, and the beeping stops. Over time, you learn the difference between smoke and fire. Mature courage is that responding instead of reacting, seeing instead of assuming, staying with the feeling without jumping into the story. Here's what I want for you as we go deeper. Not a life without fear, but a life where fear no longer drives, where fear shows up, gets a respectful nod, and then takes the back seat while your higher self keeps the wheel. Because fear doesn't disappear when you succeed. It doesn't evaporate when you find love. It doesn't retire when you get fit. It just changes costumes. If you place your freedom on the condition that fear must vanish first, you'll keep waiting. If you choose to move while fear is present, fear loses power fast. Let's talk about the body for a second, because this is where so much changes. Fear doesn't live in thoughts alone. It settles into the nervous system. It tightens the jaw, stiffens the shoulders, flips the stomach, squeezes the heart. That's not failure. That's biology doing its job too well. The magic begins when you stop fighting those signals and start feeling them fully without dramatizing them and without turning them into a life story. 10 slow breaths into the tight spot. Inhale, I am here. Exhale, this can move. Do that, and your system starts learning a new rhythm. Your body trusts you again. Your mind quiets down because it realizes something new. We're safe, even when we're scared. Now, let's flip the old script. Most people try to argue with fear. They debate it, bargain with it, bury it. That doesn't work. Fear wants attention. If you fight it, you feed it. What works is presence without judgment. Look at fear like a child in a costume. Let it speak. Hear it out. Then guide it. You don't let the child drive, but you don't shove it in the basement either. You sit together, breathe together, and walk forward anyway. Notice how fear often borrows the voice of reason. It speaks in the tone of responsible adult, but underneath is a contraction. Real discernment feels grounded and steady. Fear feels urgent and cramped. One pushes you to hide. The other invites you to prepare and proceed. Learn the difference in your body, and you'll stop confusing anxiety with wisdom. Here's a pattern worth spotting. Fear often attaches to identity. If I fail, what does that mean about me? The ego hates that question. It will do anything to avoid it. But this is the doorway. What if failure doesn't define you at all? What if it just teaches you faster? What if rejection redirects you to alignment? What if mistakes are the tuition for mastery? These aren't just nice phrases. They're reassignments of meaning, and meaning is what fear feeds on. Change the meaning, and fear loses its favorite food. Let's go even deeper. You are not the fear. You are the awareness noticing fear. That single distinction changes the game. If you merge with fear, you shrink to its size. If you witness it, you expand beyond it. In that wider space, fear becomes a sensation, not a dictator. A weather pattern, not a climate. A visitor, not a landlord. You don't have to like it. You just have to remember who hosts the house. This is where breath, attention, and language come together. Breath tells the body, we're okay. Attention tells the mind, we're here. Language tells the subconscious, we're choosing. Let's say a wave of anxiety hits before a conversation you've been dreading. Instead of spinning scenarios, you pause. One hand on the heart, one on the belly. 10 slow breaths. Inhale, I'm present. Exhale, I release the story. Then you choose a new line. My voice matters. I can speak simply and kindly. I don't need to be perfect to be clear. That isn't fake positivity. That's choosing a truer frame than the old one. There's also something subtle most people miss. Fear wants expression, not explosion. When feelings don't move, they sink. Over years, they turn heavy. So give fear a channel that doesn't wreck your day or your relationships. Write for 5 minutes without editing. Move your body to a single song and let the tension shake out. Sit by water and speak out loud the thing you've been holding in your chest. Not to dramatize, just to release pressure. Humans weren't made to bottle oceans inside their ribs. Now, let's talk about energy in simple terms. When fear lingers, it tethers life force to survival. It keeps your focus down low. What could go wrong? Who might judge? Where's the exit? When that tether loosens, energy rises naturally into clearer seeing, creative ideas, steady love. You don't force that rise. You make space for it. You stop clogging the system with constant catastrophizing. You build daily moments that say, I'm safe here. I can soften here. I can choose here. And yes, the world tries to keep fear humming. Scary headlines, pressure to perform, constant comparison. If left on autopilot, that noise gets in your bones. So choose your inputs, not from fear ironically, but from self-respect. Ask, does this make me small or spacious? Does this content add panic or clarity? Do these conversations leave me activated or empty? Trim what drains. Grow what steadies. You are not fragile for doing this. You're being a good gardener. Here's a reframe that lands for a lot of people. Fear is a threshold. It's the last guard at the gate, testing if you're ready to carry more presence, more responsibility, more love. Not by scaring you away, but by asking, will you stay open when your old patterns want to shut down? Will you keep your heart soft when your history wants to armor up? Will you tell the truth even if your voice shakes? That test isn't punishment, it's preparation. Now, if fear is a threshold, what gets you through it? Not force, not denial. A clean combination of awareness and action. Awareness without action becomes stagnation. Action without awareness becomes chaos. Together, they form a simple rhythm: feel, name, breathe, move. Feel what's happening in the body. Name what's arising without sugarcoating. Breathe to settle the system. Move one step forward anyway, not 10 steps. One, then another. Momentum wakes up, not by heroics, but by consistency. Let's make this practical for today. Sometime in the next 24 hours, sit for 2 minutes, no music, no phone. Ask, what am I actually scared of right now? Say it plainly. I'm scared they'll judge me. I'm scared I'll waste time. I'm scared I'm not ready. Then ask the question fear never asks. What do I want that's underneath this? I want to be seen. I want to do meaningful work. I want to start without guarantees. That second answer is the compass. Hold it close. Breathe into it. Take one action that serves it. Send the message. Draft the outline. Book the call. Fear will chirp. Smile at it. Keep going. Before we wrap part 1, there's one more truth I want to plant like a seed. Life isn't trying to scare you. Life is trying to grow you. That's why the same patterns keep showing up, not to trap you, but to give you another shot at choosing differently. When you stop sprinting away from fear and start walking with it, something quiet and powerful begins. Your nervous system stops bracing for impact. Your mind stops spinning disaster reels. Your heart starts trusting its own rhythm again. You don't become immune to fear, you become fluent in it. You hear its message without obeying its command. So if fear has been the background music of your days, turn the volume down with presence. If fear has been calling the shots, take the wheel back with tiny, steady actions. If fear has been wearing the mask of logic, learn to feel the difference between urgency and truth in your own body. That's the skill. That's the practice. That's the doorway we're walking through next. Fear is not your enemy. It's your teacher. Take a breath with me for a second. Notice your shoulders, your jaw, your chest. If you're carrying tension, that's not a personal failure. It's your body trying to help, just using an old playbook. Part 2 is about rewriting that playbook from the inside out, not with hype, not with pretending, with clear steps, simple language, and real shifts you can feel. Let's start where fear actually lives, your body. You don't think fear, you feel it first. Thoughts pile on after. The mind is the narrator. The nervous system is the trigger. That's why trying to outthink fear rarely works. It's like lecturing a fire alarm. The alarm doesn't need philosophy. It needs you to check the kitchen, open a window, and then gently press the button. So we're going to learn the button, how to settle the alarm without silencing your truth. Here's a clean map you can try today. When fear shows up, you're usually hit in one of 3 zones. Stomach tightens, hello, survival. Chest squeezes, hello, heartbreak and exposure. Throat locks, hello, self-expression. Step 1 is to spot the zone without jumping into a story about it. Name the sensation like you've described weather. There's a twist in my gut. There's a weight on my chest. There's a knot in my throat. No judgment, no drama, just facts. Step 2 is breath with intent, not shallow puffing, not mechanical counting. Try this. Place one hand where it hurts. Inhale through the nose, like you're smelling something warm and familiar. Let the breath aim at your hand. Exhale twice as long through the mouth, like you're fogging a window. 8 rounds. On the inhale, say quietly, "I'm here." On the exhale, "This can move." That phrase matters. You're not forcing the body to relax. You're letting it know it's allowed to. Step 3 is orientation. Fear narrows your focus into a tunnel. To widen it, look around the room. Name 5 things you see. Name 3 sounds. Feel your feet. This isn't random. It tells your nervous system, we're in a room, not a battlefield. The present moment becomes bigger than the scary image in your head. Now, let's talk about the mind's favorite trick. Fear pretends to be the truth. It talks in absolutes. If I mess up, it's over. If they say no, I'm done. If I try, they'll laugh. Catch the absolutes, then shrink them down to reality. Instead of "it will be a disaster," try "it might be awkward." Instead of "I'll ruin everything," try "I might need a second attempt." That's not sugarcoating. That's scale. Fear loves to inflate. Your job is to deflate with honest language. Here's a sentence that changes entire days. I can do hard things in small steps. The small steps part is everything. Fear hates small steps because they work. Book the 15-minute slot, not the 4-hour sprint. Send one message, not the perfect pitch. Record a 60-second draft, not the final talk. When you shrink the step, you shrink the fear. Momentum comes back. Confidence piggybacks on action, not on thinking about action. Underneath many fears is an identity glitch. If I fail, I'm not worthy. That belief is heavy. It wires every choice. So let's reframe worthiness plainly. Worth isn't earned by success. Success is shaped by steady practice. Worth isn't granted by people. It's recognized by presence. Worth isn't fragile. It's the baseline. When you stop making worth the prize and make it the starting point, you stop bargaining with fear for permission to live. There's another loop that keeps people stuck, waiting to feel ready. That day rarely comes. Readiness grows after the first few steps, not before. Think of it like walking into a cold lake. You don't stand on the shore waiting to feel warm. You step in, you gasp, you breathe, and then your system adjusts. That adjustment is readiness. It arrives because you moved, not because you waited. Let's handle a tough one: fear of judgment. Most of us aren't scared of people. We're scared of our imagination of people. We picture the worst-case audience and hand them a megaphone in our own heads. Here's a practical fix. Before you speak, post, perform, or share, craft your audience. One person, someone kind, someone curious. Speak to them, write to them, create for them. When you aim at the right heart, your voice softens, your truth lands, and the phantom critics fade into background noise. Now for a gentle truth: fear often guards grief. The reason we hesitate isn't always about the future. It's about past moments that still ache. Times we weren't chosen. Times we were laughed at. Times we were left out. When fear flares, sometimes it's those echoes rising up to be felt and finally set down. This isn't woo. It's human. If tears come, let them. If anger hums, let it move without harming anyone. The release is not weakness. It's pressure leaving the system. There's a part of the process that sounds small but changes everything: daily cleansing. Not perfection, just hygiene for the heart. Take a shower and say, "Let the water carry the weight I don't need." Light incense or a candle and say, "I choose steady over panic." Sit quietly for 2 minutes, hand on heart, and say, "I'm safe here." Rituals teach your body that safety is repeatable. Repeatability is what calms the alarm long term. Let's talk about the environment. Fear multiplies in chaotic spaces and frantic feeds. You don't have to quit society to feel better, but you do have to curate. If certain accounts spike your anxiety, mute them. If certain conversations leave you feeling small, take space. If your room looks like a storm, tidy one corner. Not because neatness is a moral virtue, but because clarity outside helps create clarity inside. A calm desk is a quiet ally. There's a myth that courage shows up as a roar. Sometimes it does. More often, courage is a whisper that says, "Take one more step." It's pressing publish when your hand trembles. It's walking into the room with knees that shake. It's saying, "I don't know yet," without pretending. That softness is not weakness. It's honesty. Honesty takes less energy than pretending. Less energy spent on armor means more energy available for vision. Now let's turn fear into a guide, not a jailer. Try this reframe whenever you feel that old grip. If I'm scared here, there's something I care about here. That sentence flips the lens. Instead of "what's wrong with me," the question becomes, "what matters to me?" Fear stops being an insult and becomes a signpost. Follow the care, not the panic. Care is the compass. Panic is just noise. A quick exercise you can do tonight. Write one line at the top of a page. "The fear I'm willing to face this week," is then write a second line, "because what I want on the other side is keep it plain." No poetry needed. One page. 5 minutes. Then pick the tiniest action that honors the second line. Put it on the calendar. When the time comes, breathe, do it messy, and mark it done. That check mark is not small. It's proof to your nervous system that you can feel fear and still move. Let's get into something subtle, the difference between fear and intuition. Fear is loud, fast, catastrophic, and bossy. Intuition is quiet, steady, simple, and specific. Fear says, "Don't do anything ever, it's all dangerous." Intuition says, "Not this one, choose that one." Learn the texture. If the voice shouts and shakes you, pause. If the voice is calm and clear, listen. This saves years. There's also the question of control. Fear hates uncertainty, so it tries to control everything: outcomes, people, timing. Control feels safe until it doesn't. The alternative is not passivity, it's participation. Do what's yours with care and leave the rest. Plant the seed. Water it. Give it sun. You can't yank the sprout out faster by shouting at the soil. Patience here isn't laziness, it's partnership with reality. When fear sticks around, even after progress, don't be shocked. That's normal. The system learned a pattern over years. It won't retire after one good day. But each time you meet fear with presence, breathe through it, and take even one tiny step, you're rewiring the loop. Think of it like carving a new path through a field. The first few walks are awkward. After a while, it becomes the obvious way through. Let's anchor this with a short practice you can memorize. Feel it. Where is the sensation? Name it: tight chest, fluttering belly, buzzing hands. Breathe it. Inhale, "I'm here." Exhale, "this can move." 8 rounds. Ground it. Look around. Name 5 things you see, 3 sounds you hear, 1 thing you can touch. Frame it. Replace the absolute with the accurate. From "I'll fail" to "it might be awkward," and "I can handle awkward." Move it. One small action that serves what you want, not what you fear. That's your pocket ritual. Simple enough to use in a line at the store, before a call, when the mind starts spinning at 2 a.m. Simplicity is your friend. The nervous system loves repeatable, predictable steps. Fear is not your enemy, it's your teacher. Okay, one more deep breath. If part 1 shifted your perspective, and part 2 gave you tools, part 3 is where we turn steady into strong. This isn't about becoming bulletproof. It's about becoming clear, honest, and consistent enough that fear stops steering your life. You'll still feel it sometimes, sure, but it won't decide your future. That job is yours. Let's begin with a simple idea that changes everything. Fear is fuel when it's pointed. Unpointed fear scatters your energy. Pointed fear focuses it. Think of a magnifying glass. Sunlight is harmless until it's concentrated. Your attention works the same way. When you channel what you feel into a clean direction, your system gets the message. We're not bracing anymore. We're building. So how do you point it? Start with a small vow you can keep daily. Not a huge promise you'll break by Thursday. A small, non-negotiable line in the sand. I show up for 20 minutes a day on what matters most. That's it. The project, the conversation, the practice. Keep it simple and keep it sacred. Fear hates sacred consistency because repetition rewires. Every day you keep that promise, your nervous system believes you more than your old stories. Let's build a morning setup that quietly changes the tone of your day. You don't need an hour. You need 5 to 10 minutes done well. Wake up and sit 2 minutes. Hand on heart. Breathe slow. Inhale, I'm here. Exhale, I can move with this. Name one care, one sentence. Today, I care about showing up calmly for my work. Or today, I care about speaking clearly in my call. Keep it specific. Specificity is power. Make one choice, one action to schedule. 20-minute block on the calendar. That block is your anchor. Life will try to pull you everywhere else. That anchor keeps you tethered to what actually matters. Then stand and move 1 minute. Shake out the arms. Roll the shoulders. Stretch the hips. You're telling your system, we move, we don't freeze. That's your micro ritual. Simple, repeatable, no drama. When you keep it, you feel different before the world even speaks to you. Now, let's talk about tough moments, because they're coming. A call you don't want to make. A camera that feels intimidating. A conversation where truth is needed. Here are 3 pre-game lines that steady the room inside you. I don't need to be impressive. I need to be clear. I can breathe through awkward and stay kind. My job is presence. The outcome will land where it should. These lines aren't magic spells. They are reminders of what never changes. When you keep your job small and honest, your system stops trying to control everything and starts doing what it does best, showing up. There's a pattern you might notice as you grow. The more you step toward what you want, the more old resistance visits. It can look like sudden fatigue, nitpicking yourself, overplanning, or picking fights with people you care about. This is just the system testing the new path. Don't panic. Don't declare a crisis. Name it and return to your tiny promise. 20 minutes. Today. Then go live your life. Paradoxically, making your practice smaller makes your progress bigger. Now let's transform fear into clarity with a clean storytelling shift. Most people narrate their days like this. I messed it up. I'm behind. I should be further along. That story drains you before you begin. Try the builder's story instead. I'm learning in public. I adjust fast. I do small things well until they add up. That's not denial. It's a blueprint. The builder's story turns fear's favorite lines into traction. Over time, this posture makes you durable. And durability beats intensity in the long run. We need to touch on love and belonging because that's where fear really digs in. The quiet fear beneath so many choices is, if I show up as I am, will I still be loved? Here's the answer your nervous system needs to hear from you. Love that needs you to shrink isn't love, it's approval. Approval changes with the weather. Real love may not always agree with you, but it can sit with you while you tell the truth. When you start choosing truth over approval, you feel lonely for a moment, then free for a lifetime. That gap in between, that's where courage grows. Let's place this in real life. Say you're about to publish something that matters to you. Fear gets loud. What if it flops? What if they laugh? What if I'm not ready? Here's the flow. Feel it. Breathe slow. Hand on heart. I'm here. Frame it. It might be awkward. I can handle awkward. Focus it. I'm speaking to one kind person who needs this. Do it. Hit. Publish. Then walk away for 30 minutes. no refreshing. Let your system learn that action doesn't require immediate validation. Another place fear shows up: money and work. The mind spins. What if it doesn't work? What if I can't sustain this? What if I'm not cut out for it? The truth is, sustainability comes from systems more than spurts. Build simple rails. Decide your consistent output: 2 pieces a week, 1 call a day, 1 pitch a day. Decide your learning loop. Review what worked every Friday. Adjust one thing. Try again. Decide your energy hygiene: 10-minute morning, 5-minute reset after tough moments. That's it. Systems beat moods. Fear is a mood. Systems quietly win. Let's talk about forgiveness, because fear clings to old guilt and uses it as proof that you can't trust yourself. Forgiveness isn't saying it didn't matter. It's saying, I'm done paying for it with my life force. If there's a regret that still stings, try this simple 3-part release. Name what happened without spin. Name what you learned that you didn't know then. Name how you're going to live differently now. Then take one small action that aligns with the new way. That action is the closing stitch. You stop leaking energy into the past, and fear loses a favorite anchor. There's a quiet skill most people overlook: knowing when to stop. Not quitting your path, ending your day, ending a task when you said you would. Fear says, do more to be safe, but that more is often a mask for panic. Keep your promises in both directions. Start when you said, stop when you said. Stopping on time teaches your system trust. It tells your life, I'm a steady river, not a flood. Now, let's bring in something beautiful: devotion. Not in a religious sense, devotion to what you care about. Devotion is steadier than motivation. Motivation is loud and comes and goes. Devotion is quiet and keeps showing up. Choose 3 words that define the way you want to carry yourself this season. For example, steady, honest, brave. Put them where you'll see them. Before a call, steady. Before a creative block, honest. Before a risk, brave. These become rails your energy runs on when fear tries to scatter it. There's also the question of faith, not blind faith, but a working trust that if you keep choosing truth and action, life will meet you somewhere on the road. You don't force outcomes, you participate. Plant, water, and watch. Then plant again. That rhythm builds a life. It's less dramatic than the movies, but more peaceful than the panic. Let's cement this with a closing practice you can use at night to reset your system. 3 breaths, slow and long. 3 sentences, spoken softly. Today I showed up here. Name 1 thing. Today I'm releasing this. Name 1 weight. Tomorrow I will keep 1 promise. Name your 20-minute anchor. Then lights off. No scrolling. Let your system end the day with clarity instead of clutter. Clarity at night is courage in the morning. Before we close, there's one more shift that can change the angle of your entire life. Speak to yourself as the person you want to become, not someday, but now. Not pretending, claiming. When fear rises, ask, how would the calm version of me handle this? Then copy them for 5 minutes. That 5-minute impersonation becomes real faster than you think. Identity follows action more than thought. Here's the quiet truth you've been circling. Being invincible isn't about never feeling fear. It's about not abandoning yourself when fear arrives. It's staying with your breath. It's telling the cleaner story. It's taking the small step. It's keeping your tiny promise even on messy days. That's it. It looks simple because it is. And simple is what works when it's hard. So let's end with a vow. Not loud, not dramatic, just real. Say it out loud if you can. I'll feel what I feel and still move. I'll choose truth over approval. I'll show up for 20 minutes a day on what matters most. I'll be kind to myself when I wobble, and I'll begin again. That's your line in the sand. Not tomorrow, now. And if your hands tremble, let them tremble while you write. Speak, build, and live. Trembling hands can still change a life. If this spoke to something real inside you, stay with it. Rewatch this video when you need a reset. Share this with the one person who comes to mind, the person who's one step away from their own turning point. And tell me in the comments, what fear are you ready to face this week? And what do you want on the other side of it? Name it, claim it, and take that first small step. The door is open.